What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Rambling Men Sports Podcast. We got another division preview for you. Unfortunately, James couldn't be here. He had some stuff to do at work. He just said go on without us. But we got a new face on the podcast today, our good buddy, John Purdy. So today we're doing the AFC. Well, first of all, John, how you doing, man?
Shane, I'm doing well, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing quite all right. So I know John from both James and myself know John from our days at Chick-fil-A. John, you were always the breading man. You breaded the chicken just about every day, and then you became the supplies man. That's how
I got promoted. It was a huge promotion.
That's how we became good friends. You breaded, and I did the nuggets, and those jobs were like back to back of each other. And we just started quoting movies, and I remember the one that really got us was, I think Fisher, one of the managers, came and asked me for lemonade, and then you gave the old school quote, and, "Hey, Blue, how come there's no ice in my lemonade?"
Oh, shit. Yeah, that was a good day.
That was a good day. Anyway, so we're doing the AFC North division preview today, and you, sir, are a giant Pittsburgh Steelers fan. So that's why I wanted to have you on to talk some AFC North. But we're going to go ahead and do it. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and do it like we always do. Which team do you think is going to finish last in the division this year?
Not to give a biased opinion, but the Steelers are definitely going to own the AFC North once again.
I said finish last. I said finish last.
Oh, I'm sorry. Last. Sorry. I didn't hear you. Last?
Last.
I'm going to go with the Bengals.
Bengals? Really? I thought you'd say the Browns.
Bad.
Yeah.
They're just bad.
They are.
There's just no other way to put it. Marvin Lewis has single-handedly driven that organization into the ground. I mean, he's been there almost, I think, 20 years now.
Not that long, but it feels like it.
I'm pretty sure it's almost 20.
Oh, yeah. It's upwards of 16
it's like 17
to 18.
Or 18.
Yeah.
You might as well call it 20.
Yeah, that's fair.
But no, that man has just driven that organization into the ground, especially the past, I want to say 4 years. You got Pac-Man Jones beating people up at the airport. Pac-Man Jones beating up strippers. I mean, it's just like, and there's just no consequences. No matter what. You got Vontaze Burfict acting a fool almost every game. It's just insane what goes on with that organization, and there's no repercussions or consequences for the players. It's insane.
Yeah, I'm actually a Marvin Lewis defender. I think he's a good coach. I just think it's time for a change. I think Cincinnati's a terrible organization. Maybe if he gets out of there, go somewhere else, maybe he has some success. I think Cincinnati's front office is partly to blame, though.
Have I been saying Marvin Lewis or Marvin Jones?
I said Marvin. Did I say Marvin Jones? I meant Marvin Lewis.
Coach Marvin Lewis.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I said Marvin Jones at any point, I meant Marvin Lewis.
Yeah, I think you said Marvin Lewis, but I had Marvin Jones on the brain.
Okay, yeah, I got you.
Yeah, but so you going with the Bengals. I don't disagree with you. For a long time, I did have the Bengals in last. And James convinced me. He was like, nah, man, this team could get to 500. So now I'm kind of like, maybe they finish in third. But no, I do have them in fourth. I don't think they're going to be that bad. I don't know. It really depends on how Andy Dalton plays. But the rest of the roster, I'm not sure can get it done. Who do you got in third? I'm sure we're probably going to have the exact same top four, but you go ahead. Who you think's in third?
Honestly, I'm going to go with the Ravens.
Oh, okay. No, we don't have the same then. Okay, Baltimore Ravens. Go ahead.
Joe Flacco just doesn't have it.
Yeah.
He had it that 1 year he won the Super Bowl, which seems like eons ago. And then after that, that man has just he's just fallen off. He's just not there anymore. Mentally, I mean, you can just see it on the field with all the mental errors and mistakes, the interceptions, the errant throws. He just doesn't have it.
I love your vocabulary.
He is just not the man the Ravens need a quarterback anymore.
Yep.
And I think Lamar Jackson will be starting by, I'm going to go with week 9.
Week 9. I'm looking at their schedule here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That would be against Pittsburgh right before the bye week. At home. So that would be an interesting game for sure. To have the likely division, the top team in the division at home, you probably need a spark to, get your season back on track. But I'm with you. I do think Lamar Jackson could end up winning that job at some point, but we can get into them more next. But I actually do have the Cleveland Browns in third. Everyone's all in on the Browns this year. I shouldn't say all in. A lot of people are excited to see what the Browns can do this year. And I'm assuming you have them in second because you already said you had Pittsburgh in first when you misheard me. But I'm just not
right.
Yeah, I'm not ready to buy in on Cleveland just yet. They got to win more than one game in a regular season first. I like the moves they made in the offseason, but I still don't think this is a great team. They just lost Josh Gordon to rehab or whatever. I don't know. He's gone for the time being. Jarvis Landry's a good receiver, but he's more of a yards guy. He's not going to score a lot of touchdowns. He's going to get a lot of receptions. I do like their offensive line, even though Joe Thomas retired. They still have a very good interior offensive line. And I do like the draft pick to get Nick Chubb from Georgia. And then defensively, they got Myles Garrett, pretty good. We'll see more when he's healthy. But their secondary is not great outside of Denzel Ward, and he's a rookie. We don't really know what to expect. And
right, I think Denzel Ward will make an immediate impact, just like Marshawn Lattimore did last year with the Saints.
I agree with that. I think Denzel Ward's going to be pretty dang good. But I just need to see it from Cleveland. I think this is still about a 5-win team. But we're going to get into records a little bit later. But second place, I already know it. Go ahead with your team.
Second place, I'm going to go with the Browns. Baker Mayfield has been a winner.
I forgot to mention about Baker Mayfield and Tyrod Taylor.
Texas Tech his freshman year, and then he transferred out, went to Oklahoma. He was a winner at Texas Tech, and he was a winner at Oklahoma.
Yeah, I will say that about Baker Mayfield. A lot of people, including myself, disliked the pick to get Baker. I was like, man, you got Sam Darnold there on the board, and you take Baker Mayfield. Just seemed odd. But the more I thought about it, I was like, you know what? This dude has been, and I'm not a huge Baker Mayfield fan, but this dude has been doubted his entire life. He started as a walk-on. You can't get a scholarship. He goes to Oklahoma, gets a scholarship. Well, you're not going to be the starting quarterback. He gets the starting job. You're not going to win the Heisman. He wins the Heisman. Well, you're not going to be a first round pick. Goes number 1 overall. So just this dude, we keep doubting this dude, and he keeps, proving us wrong. And I think he's a guy Cleveland could need. He's got, that mentality that I think Cleveland needs.
Exactly.
And I do.
Mentality.
Yeah, I do like that. And second place for me, though, I got the Baltimore Ravens. I still like John Harbaugh, but like Marvin Lewis, maybe it's time for a new, change of scenery. Maybe he should go somewhere else. It's just not working out in Baltimore right now. They are about 500 every year, and I want to pick them to make the playoffs. I almost did last year. I want to this year, but their schedule's brutal. I'm looking at it right here. All their tough games are on the road. At Pittsburgh, at Tennessee, at Carolina, at Atlanta, at Kansas City, and at the Chargers. Those are some brutal games. They could easily have a losing record on the road. And offensively, they do get some teams like New Orleans and Oakland, Pittsburgh at home. But I don't think you got the offense to score enough points. Definitely not to beat New Orleans when you got Joe Flacco at quarterback.
Exactly. I mean, even those home games against 2 out of those 3 teams with high-powered offenses being with Pittsburgh and New Orleans, those are going to be dogfight games, even at home.
I agree. Just this is a tough – they get Denver at home, but they have 10 days to prepare. I'm going to likely take them to win that game, even though I'm not crazy about their offensive line facing Denver's pass rush. But this feels like another 500 team, just roughly 8-8. I want to pick them to do better because I really like the John Harbaugh, but I'm just not sure. So let's go ahead. We both have the same team, but your number 1 team in the AFC North
is definitely going to be the Steelers. They are definitely going to own the division again this year. And honestly, I don't think it's going to be close.
Yeah, I could not agree more. This could be wrapped up. I won't say late November. That's pretty crazy. Early December, though, I could see this division being wrapped up.
Absolutely. It'll definitely be clinched around that time.
Yeah, just Pittsburgh across the board has probably the best roster in the NFL. We're critical of Mike Tomlin sometimes, James and myself. He's still a pretty good coach. Todd Haley's gone. I think he was kind of a cancer. He's gone.
That was, in my opinion, that was the best offseason move they made, was getting rid of his ass. He was just, oh my, I don't even know where to start on that,
Oh, but first, real quick, I want to get your thoughts on Le'Veon Bell's contract.
You know what, at this point, it is what it is. This ongoing saga I think this is the third year in a row now, they just could not come to an agreement on his contract. And I think a lot of people are going to be surprised what Jalen Samuels can do. The 4th-round draft pick out of NC State.
Yeah, that was one pick I kind of really liked. He's kind of this hybrid. Don't really know if he's a running back, tight end. He's not really a tight end. He's 5'11", 260, not quite tight end size. He's more of a fullback, but he's more athletic than a fullback. He's just a weird player, and I think he could be special in Pittsburgh's offense. I agree. But, exactly. I'm with you, though. Pittsburgh, they have the best offensive arsenal in the NFL. Their front seven is pretty good. I don't think it's as good as it was, when Roethlisberger first started winning, when they had Timmons and Woodley. I can't remember who else. James Harrison, all those
Farrier.
guys. Yeah. Farrier, yes, that's who it was. All those guys. It's not as good as it was then, but it's still pretty solid. They do have a hole, though, I think, at inside linebacker without Ryan Shazier. Who knows if he'll ever play again. And I don't think they have a true safety anymore with Mike Mitchell gone. I think they're going to try to move their first-round pick, Terrell Edmonds, over to free safety, but he's more of an in-the-box free safety, or in-the-box safety. It's just going to be weird, but they still have some good weapons at corner. They got a decent pass rush with T.J. Watt. So this defense ought to be ranked top 10. I don't know what you think.
Honestly, I think getting rid of Mike Mitchell, that was an extremely smart move. Yeah. I mean, the guy, he's a hell of an athlete. He would make plays, but he would also, on the negative side, he would also screw the team with just bonehead 15-yard penalties, and he would get one almost every single game.
Yeah.
And it would be like in a crucial time of the game, and you're just like, Mike, what the hell are you doing, man?
I agree. And Pittsburgh's schedule.
That's completely unnecessary.
Yeah. Pittsburgh's schedule is also very favorable. The one road game that I think, there's a few road games that are tricky. One that's kind of tricky, I think, is Tampa Bay. But Jameis Winston's not going to play. He'll be suspended for that game. And they do have to go. They got 3 road games later in the year at Jacksonville, at Denver, and then at Oakland. And at New Orleans. Those 4 games could be losses. I think they could easily take 2 of those 4. But all their tough games are at home. Kansas City, Atlanta, Carolina, LA Chargers, New England, all the division, obviously 3 division teams. All those games are tough, and they're going to be at home for Pittsburgh.
Right. See, not to get off the topic of the AFC North, but Kansas City, man, I just think Patrick Mahomes is going to be hit or miss this year. And I just don't know what to think about that. I think it's going to be a coin flip as to how he performs this year.
Yeah,
he's either going to come out and kill it, or he's just going to come out and it's just going to be a bloodbath for them offensively.
That's how I feel about him. Josh Allen, it's going to be hit or miss. There's not going to be a tweener for either of them. They're not going to be like an Alex Smith where, hey, you could win some games with him. It's going to be he's going to win you a bunch of games, or you're going to be 7-9.
Exactly.
Yep.
I agree.
So let's get down to record predictions. Let's go ahead and start. We went 4-1. Let's start 1-4 now. So where do you have Pittsburgh going?
Honestly, I think they go 14-2.
Really? Where are the 2 losses in there?
2 losses. I'm going to say they lose to Breeze. Drew Brees, he always plays
Yeah.
the Steelers tough.
That's
no
a brutal
where
game.
the game's at.
Yeah.
That game, Pittsburgh probably loses that by a field goal.
Yep.
In a shootout. And honestly, I think the Steelers lose to the Jaguars again.
Yeah. That team just
even though they lost to the Jaguars twice last year.
Yeah, that team just feels like has
insane.
Pittsburgh's number.
Yeah.
And it was only 1 year, but yeah, it just feels like they have their number.
Yep.
I'm not as high on Pittsburgh as you, 14-2 wise. I do think that they'll be pretty damn good this year. I have them at 12-4 and probably getting the number 1 overall seed in the AFC.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that number 1 overall seed as well.
I don't know.
This is definitely going to be Pittsburgh's year. If they're going to make a run at the Super Bowl, this is definitely going to be their year with the receiving core, the offensive line, Roethlisberger being healthy, Bell's final year in Pittsburgh. They literally have every single piece of the puzzle together on offense. And the offense, if the defense hits some ruts along the way, the offense is just so good they can bail out the defense. It's just not going to matter.
I could not agree more with that statement. I think of the AFC, and I think the top 4 teams going into this season in the AFC are Pittsburgh, New England, the Chargers, and probably the Texans. And Pittsburgh doesn't have to play Houston, and the other 2 teams they get at home. This is their year to win those games at home, get the number 1 overall seed, and get home field advantage and get to the Super Bowl.
Exactly.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So your second place team was Cleveland Browns. I'm interested to know, what record do you have them going this year?
I'm going to say 8-8.
Really? You're much higher on Cleveland than I am.
I am. But I'm not completely on the Cleveland hype train as much as ESPN is.
Yeah.
I've seen a few analysts predicting them going to the playoffs, and that's just
I'll be
insane.
Shocked if that happens.
There's just no other way to put it. It's just insane.
I don't.
I do think Baker Mayfield steps in there at some point, and he wins the games. Like I said, he's been a winner no matter where he's been at. If there's a will, there's a way with that man, and he will find somehow, some way to get the Cleveland Browns some victories this year.
I agree. I think you can't really double. They were winless last year, but I'll get to them next. Actually, I don't have them in second. So my second place team is the Baltimore Ravens, and like you, I have the second place team in this division going 8-8. So just Baltimore, I gotta see it now. It's been a few years of this mediocre 500 team, and they should have made the playoffs last year, and I do think they got a little bit better this offseason, but I got to see it come together. But I think they're just on the outside looking in, postseason-wise. I think they're just outside the AFC playoff picture. All right, so third place.
Absolutely.
We're on a little bit of a delay.
I got the Ravens there. Okay.
Nah, I think you're on a little bit of a delay, but that's fine. So your third place team is Cincinnati.
Okay.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. Baltimore. Go ahead.
Yeah, going to be the Ravens. I'm going to say the Ravens go, I'm going to say 6-9, but I'm going to put an asterisk by that, 6-9.
There's 16 games on the schedule. For me,
so 6-10, my bad.
Okay.
Sorry, math's off there. But yeah, I'm going to put an asterisk by that 6-10. Honestly, I think Lamar Jackson's going to be the real deal. He definitely compares to Michael Vick the best. Michael Vick's biggest struggle was his accuracy. I mean, the guy could sling the ball damn near 80 yards. He could run that extremely fast 40. His football IQ was there. Lamar Jackson has all of that, except he doesn't have the arm strength, but he has the accuracy. Even though, people talk shit about his throwing motion and all that, his form. He could fit those tight windows in the ball when he was playing at Louisville in that offense. If you go back and you look at the Florida State game, he absolutely destroyed Florida State. Absolutely destroyed Florida State that year. And Florida State was supposed to have one of the best defenses, talent-wise, on paper, whatever you want to call it. And he just dismantled Florida State by himself. And he did that against a few other good teams as well.
Yeah.
So that 6-10 I got by the Ravens. For me, it just all depends on when Lamar Jackson takes over.
Yeah. I could see that as well. I like Lamar Jackson as well. I'm not as high on him as you. I agree with you completely with the Michael Vick comparison, though. When he came out, I felt like he had the traits to be successful. He obviously can avoid pressure. He's mobile. His arm strength, while you said it isn't as good as Michael Vick, it's not like he's a scrub when it comes to arm strength. He can sling it when he wants to. But yeah, like you said, his issue though is his accuracy, and sometimes you can't really fix that. It's just I'm interested to see how he does, but who knows? It's like Mahomes. We don't really know what we're going to get from him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So my third place team was the Cleveland Browns, and I think we're going to have the exact same thing. I think Cleveland's going to be about 5-11 or 6-10. I think people are jumping the gun when it comes to Cleveland just a little bit. This feels like a team that's maybe one more offseason away, depending on the quarterback situation, from being a potential playoff team. I'll see how that goes this year. They could easily surprise me, and I think could easily surprise me, go 8-8, be in the playoff picture, but we'll see. I still think we should expect this team to be pretty bad, though. So
yeah, see, I feel that way about my fourth place team, the Bengals.
Yeah.
I mean, outside of AJ Green, obviously he's going to have another All-Star year, but one man at receiver just can't carry the team.
And when you got Andy Dalton throwing the ball, it's not going to work out well.
Exactly.
What do you think of their record this year?
I'm going to be generous and say somehow they win 4 games and lose 12.
I think that's fair. 4 games is fair. I could easily see them being like a 7-9. Maybe the pieces finally start coming together. Maybe Andy Dalton has a bounce back year. I could easily see this though being a disaster year and being 2-14.
That's very reasonable as well.
Yeah. I don't think this team's going to be anywhere close to the playoffs. I think, like Cleveland, they're about the same. I don't really know what to expect from their quarterback. They have some weapons offensively. I like what they did in the draft, drafting Billy Price, and also they didn't do this during the draft, but they traded for left tackle Cordy Glenn. That's huge for an offensive line that was garbage the last few years. Really going to help
Absolutely
Dalton.
dreadful.
Yeah, with protection. So I think they'll be slightly better, but in the trenches at least. But I don't think this team's going to win maybe 6 games.
I completely agree with you.
I thought 4-12 as well. I think I could easily see 4-12.
High expectations until they get rid of us.
Yeah, I think maybe 4-12. They get a top 4 seed and they spend that pick top 4 pick and then use that pick on a quarterback.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that quarterback's either going to be Will Grier or Jake Browning from Washington.
We'll see. But by the way, John, you are a massive Tennessee fan. Tennessee Volunteers.
Yeah.
We're going to have you on for week 1, my Mountaineers against your Volunteers. We've been talking about that since we worked at Chick-fil-A 4 years ago, that game.
Yeah. I think it's going to be ugly.
You really do.
I do.
I see. I won't say I'm worried about it.
I think Pruitt's going to be a good coach. It's just he's not going to have enough time to turn it around. The Tennessee just doesn't have the athletes pretty much in any position right now.
They're loaded with talent.
I mean, they are, but at the same time, you got to look at that talent from who was the head coach at the time, being Butch Jones. No matter what anyone says, that's still Butch Jones' team. It's just under different command now with Pruitt.
Yeah, I agree. I won't say I'm worried about it. There's a part of me that thinks that game's going to be pretty close. Kind of like West Virginia, Alabama a few years ago. Alabama was the better team, and you kind of knew it the entire game, but West Virginia just kind of hung around for a few quarters. That's how I think this game's going to go.
Right. I just disagree. I can see West Virginia just blowing them out. Tennessee just doesn't have the offensive firepower. I mean, unless Jarrett Garantano made unbelievably huge strides this offseason, which I get on a lot of Tennessee forums and the Reddit page. I mean, he's made strides, but he hasn't made enough strides.
Yeah. You're going to have to outscore Will Grier. Yeah, and I agree. I don't think Tennessee has the horses.
No, they do not. They just don't have the athletes.
Yeah. Well, man, finally we got you to come on. I have been bugging you about this for a few weeks now, texting you every now and then. But also, I want to mention you just had a pretty big honor. What happened? You got in the Coast Guard, I believe. Was that what happened?
I did. I enlisted in the Coast Guard in December. I went to boot camp. I graduated a day after I turned 27, so that was like the ultimate birthday gift right there. And then I went to Trace and Petaluma. That is the Coast Guard Training Center on the West Coast in California. I was there for 6 months. I had to wait to start A school because I was an early arrival straight out of boot camp. So then I started A school way back in April. It was April 23rd. And I went through it was a pretty grueling 13-week training course in culinary arts. But I made it, and now I'm here. I'm pretty excited.
Where are you at right now?
I'm currently at my grandma's house in Western Maryland.
Well, I meant where are you going to be stationed?
Oh, I'm going to be stationed in Grand Haven, Michigan.
Okay.
Coast Guard City, USA.
Awesome. Well, awesome, man. That's awesome. I couldn't be happier for you.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for coming on and talking some AFC North football. Yeah, thank you. I think our next episode is going to be about my division, the NFC North. So that'll be fun.
Hey, no doubt. Hey, thank you. It's been an honor.
Yes, absolutely, my man.
Talk show, podcast, whatever you want to call it. It's been great.
Yeah, we'll have you on for college football for sure.
Yeah, I hope I can make some future appearances.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, not a problem, buddy. Thank you.
Yep, later.